We're live.
And we are live.
And we are live, Evie. Hello and good afternoon.
I was a few minutes early. I don't know.
I think we're actually on time.
Too eager to go live. Okay.
We are all good. We're all good. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine, Yvonne. Nice to be here once again. Mythbusting.
Always, always. I have to say, these Thursdays come around so quickly. You know, I'm always amazed at, gosh, are we there again already?
Yeah.
Here we are. We are very much here again. And this week, for those who perhaps haven't been watching, you might be watching for the first time. I have noticed this week we've had quite a few people who probably hadn't seen previous videos kind of liking posts and things. So if you showed up today to watch the live, thank you so much. And really these lives are an opportunity for us to bring forward some of the phrases, some of the narratives, the stories that we are constantly telling ourselves, and they come out in little phrases, little words that we use. And every time we use them, we're just embedding them further inside ourselves. And then, hey presto, what actually happens in life is a reflection of those things that we keep on telling ourselves. And we're really here to bust those myths, because they're coming from the part of you that has perhaps been impacted by something somebody else has said, from the education system, authority figures. It could have come from many, many places. But the whole point is it's held within you. And so we want to kind of bring those to the forefront, expose them, and really focus on better ways and better language that we can use that's much more supportive. That's what we do in Permission to Thrive. That's what we love doing. And we know that every time somebody breaks free from these, it really changes the trajectory of their life. It really has that much of an impact, be that in health, career, relationships, and all of that good stuff. So I'm now going to zip it over to you, Evie. What are we on this week?
Well, I just want to add to what you said. The thing that we like the most is that all these are done in a very, very micro steps. And the thing that you said about the impact, it's like it's a huge impact, but really with small shifts. And getting like one shift done with regards to your limiting beliefs, and that's what we are myth-busting, really makes a huge difference, as you very nicely said, Yvonne. So today we're talking about the guilt grip. And we all have that, whether it is internal or external, even though I always like to think that everything is sort of internal, because we tend to allow these things to grip us. But it is things that have started from somewhere in, you know, in our youth, I suppose, when we were really, really young, and how they were embedded in our everyday life. And it can be quite cultural as well, with this thing, the guilt grip. I don't know about your culture, but I know in our culture, being Greek, we have a lot of this going around. And it has to do with the really tight-knit families. It's a wonderful thing on the one hand to have really close families, and it can be really daunting when you know, like, members of the family are actually working their way in your head, making you feel guilty. So how do you see that in your family or in your culture?
I think culturally, I'm not going to say that. I think a lot of guilt and that premise, I mean, although, you know, in the Jamaican heritage, you know, family is important, family is tight, and all of that stuff. But as I look back, I don't feel like that was something that really came up, although there was a sense of, you know, don't, perhaps there was a sense of don't let the family down, that kind of stuff, perhaps, but not overpoweringly so. I think a lot of guilt in my life has come from, you know, societal ways of being that I have purposefully or not purposefully broken from. And so sometimes it's just that, oh, you know, I didn't do it the way that people said I should, and therefore I now feel a little bit bad. But, you know, and that may be a little bit bad in a moment, and maybe I feel really bad in another moment. And then, of course, that all compounds. And that thing that you said about you like to believe that it's internal. It is internal because we hold on to it. It becomes embedded in us. So regardless of the fact that it's happened out here, we take it on board and we carry it. And guilt is a heavy load to carry for anyone, regardless of where it's appeared from.
Yeah, 100%. And I know, like, this is quite often shown for saboteurs, like the pleaser and the victim, and we don't particularly have quite high of those in for us personally, but we have definitely seen it in clients and how that shows up. And as you said, it doesn't have to be due to cultural, you know, like in the inheritance or of the culture or whatever, but societal is quite like, you know, it gives you that sense, that especially when there are ways that you have to do things. You have to be at a certain age to do certain things. You have to be within a certain group to do certain things. But there are so many. But the limiting phrase that we're talking about here is I shouldn't prioritize myself. I think this a material of whether you are within the pleaser or the victim, it's a very much embedded thing for women in whether, you know, no matter what culture we are in. I think that's a very strong phrase, and I'm sure you have said it, I have said it. And a lot of people that hear us have at least said this or something along those lines. And the problem is that this can cause huge issues in the way you show up, in the way you deplete yourself, and all those beautiful things I want to talk about, and that affect us as women. And
I mean, this has got to be one of the most, and I'm not going to say the most common phrases. It's not the phrase, but the words may be different, but coming from the same place. This lack of belief that you should come first. Even now, actually, when I do webinars and things, at the end, it's almost like, oh my goodness, I feel so relieved that it's okay for me to be able to do things for myself. And it's just like, but you've been the only one, you're the one who's been telling yourself that you can't, but you've been telling yourself you can't because of all the messages you've heard that have told you that you mustn't. You know, who are you? How selfish? You know, your family, your work, everything comes first. I'm like, it's a really hard case to deal with, because it's like, well, of course I love my family, so my family are hugely important, my work may be really important, whatever those things are, yes, they're all important, but they cannot be more important than you, because for you to maintain your ability to deliver in all of those areas, your family, your relationships, your work, your health, you have to put something in order for the output to occur. So for me, it's always that we are still stumbling around thinking whether we should prioritize ourselves or not, and finding it incredibly uncomfortable and feeling really guilty when we do. Oh, you know, I took an hour for myself today. Oh, how awful am I? You know, but I kind of hear some wording around that. And I'm just like, it sounds a little bit crazy, but I get it because I understand how society has shaped that narrative for women in particular. And, you know, society has changed. The way that we live has changed. You know, women being at home and the homemakers much more has changed. You know, and guess what? If you are a homemaker today and that's your thing, absolutely brilliant. You still need to replenish yourself. You still need to take care of yourself. It's irrelevant of what role you're playing. That need to fill your cup is the difference between you surviving and thriving. Surviving, just about staying on top, possibly not, you know, legs under the water, kicking like a crazy thing, or thriving, actually having the energy to do all these things whilst feeling great and feeling joyful. I mean, that's my work. So, you know, these phrases really matter to me and they show up a lot in my work. Yeah.
No, absolutely. I think this is why we do what we do, to ensure that nobody stays behind and keeps thinking that they don't matter and that they don't need to prioritize themselves. I mean, if you don't prioritize yourself, nobody else will. And that is the bottom line. And the thing is that we always keep saying that. Now, I love it that we tend to say it all the time because that's very important. The moment that you start prioritizing yourself is the moment you're going to give anyone around you, your loved ones, way more of yourself in a very good way.
Yes.
And that is really important to every single one of us, isn't it? So if you don't do it for you, because you cannot prioritize yourself for you, do it for the people you love, because at the end of the day, they matter to you and they need or they deserve to have the best of you, right? But not while you are depleted. Then there is no way that you can give them your best. And that's the way this type of phrasing is keeping you from actually doing your best, making the best for your own surroundings, right?
Definitely. And one of the things that comes up for me with this phrase is the thing about the oxygen mask, because everyone's heard the phrase, and of course when they think, oh yeah, and then it's just like, yeah, but I'm not sure that I'd want to put my oxygen mask on before I put it on my child or before I put it on an elderly parent. You know, that in and of itself feels bad. I feel guilty even thinking about that. But here's the thing, I used to be a stewardess, so let me just enlighten that if you do not put your mask on first, let's just say you choose to put your mask on your child first, and your child is safe, fantastic, but you're not. And let's just say this is, you know, and I don't want to use a scenario that it's an aircraft, but let's just say child's safe, you're not. Who is there then to look after the child? Who is there then to tend to their needs? Who is there then to make sure that they're okay? That's the very thing that you wanted to be responsible for. So in order for you to be responsible for that, you have got to put your mask on first. There is no if, buts, or maybes. You are much more able and much more likely to be able to help and support and get them to safety if you have saved yourself. This is not about you being more important than them being more important. It's nothing about that. This is simply about ensuring that you are resourced to do the things that you say are truly important to you. Because there's no point in me saying that, oh, you know, my family really matters and, you know, I'd want them, and then I'm not here to be able to do the things I want to do for my family. How has that helped? Anything. Therefore, my priority has to be that I am resourced in order to deliver on the things that I hold dear.
Yep, exactly that. And I don't think that there is anything wrong with keeping a little bit of time for yourself. And we can show you that it doesn't really take that long, that to do all these things or to help yourself be at the forefront of your life at the end of the day. Because everything that we are talking about takes very little time. And I know we have discussed that before as well, that looking after yourself doesn't mean you have to be in the spa all day. I mean, it would be nice for some people that do enjoy spas. I don't particularly do, but hey.
I do.
But it doesn't take that long, or it doesn't take any time, really. If
it takes I think I want to say it takes some time, but it's the investment of consistent time that is important, not how much of it you do at any one given time. So absolutely, Evie, you don't have to go and spend all day at a spa, although if you have the opportunity and the time, please do go enjoy it. Go and have that lovely pamper time. But this is not about that. This is about resourcing yourself in a way that ensures that you're fit for the purpose that you want to be fit for, whatever that is. And that can be done in these micro moments that we talk about and that we show in our community.
Yep, absolutely. And when we say micro moments, we really mean micro moments, right? We're talking about seconds to get back to that, because not prioritizing yourself can also lead to burnout. And it's not just for the family, it could be in the business, it could be if you're an employee while you're working. And then it causes you to be out of work because you are not fit anymore. So who wants to be in that state?
Absolutely. And this investment of time is also about keeping stress at bay. You know, we will all experience stress, I am certain, in some shape or form, but the quantity of it that we experience is the difference between us being able to bounce back, so that resilience, being able to come back, or being flat out, just as you said, Evie, and going into burnout. You know, and we have to decide what do I want? What do I actually, you know, what do I want to achieve and do and be in this life? And what do I need to put in place to ensure that I can do that? Because if we honestly think that we can go and do all the brilliant things that we are gifted to do, that we have the knowledge to do, that we have the opportunities to do without looking after ourselves, we're in for a very rocky road. And I've seen it too many times. I have experienced elements of it, fortunately not to the point of complete burnout, but I've seen it. And I've had conversations with women who have burnt out not once, but twice, even maybe 3 times before they've realized this is not sustainable. This is absolutely crazy. And then have made the changes that are necessary.
And that's the thing, you don't want to get to that stage, because there are, I suppose, burnouts and burnouts, but like generally you don't come back from a full-blown burnout easily. You need to invest then the time and the effort to get yourself back to being fully you and in your prime. So definitely, that's not really what you want to do. So, and I think this takes us to the next myth that we are hearing, and that is like, I feel guilty when I say no, and that's again something that will take you straight into burnout in no time, because you need to learn to say no everywhere, or on all aspects of your life, right?
Yeah, the big no.
Yes,
2 letters, huge word, right? But you know, I think there is a lot of guilt that comes with no. Oh, you know, I said no, and again, I've heard clients and friends even like, oh, I said no to my son, my daughter, and then I felt really bad. I felt so bad, and I'm just like, why? What was the reason for the no? And they can state very clearly why the no was a quality no. It wasn't a flippant no, it was a quality no. And yet still feel so bad. I'm like, sometimes you have to just be honest with yourself, and know that when you give that no, that there is a reason for it. You don't have to go into a great big story about why the no is a no when you already know, right? So there's a lot of no's going on here, but so just bypass me a minute. It's almost this place that we get stuck in, where if we keep on feeling guilty about saying no, we'll soon realize that we have no boundaries. And if we have no boundaries, that means more and more people will have access to our time, our energy, everything that we need to hold dear and be really kind of secure about. And that is also damaging for our health, and pretty much then leads to that whole thing about not prioritizing ourselves. So like you said, they're just like they're kind of like interlinked, these two phrases. And know that it's okay to say no, just like it's okay to say yes, but really be aware of when you are saying yes and no to things, because sometimes it's just like, oh yeah. And then 5 minutes later, you're thinking, oh my goodness, I don't want to do that. Why did I say yes? I should have said no. So, and I talk a lot about this, on my videos when I'm here on LinkedIn, is about pausing, giving yourself a little bit of space before you make a decision, before you give your yeses and your nos. Really be clear that, one, it's something you can do, you want to do, you have the capacity, etc. And don't be afraid if it has to be a no. It's okay.
Yeah. And the thing is that, like, we, as you said, I think that it makes a big difference if we do pause, if we do stop to think, because I think the no's are and the yeses are directly connected with what our outcome, what we want our outcome to be. And if we have a specific goal in mind, we need to align our yeses and our nos with that. And that's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what that goal is, and it doesn't matter whether it's for personal reasons or for work, but we really need to align them.
Yes.
Our no's and our yeses with that goal. Because anything that takes you far away from your goal, or like deviates you completely from where you want to go, you need to think about it. You need to think. I mean, I'm not saying you cannot do that, because, I mean, we all started and had goals and we changed them along the way, didn't we, Yvonne? It's just that we need to know why we're making that change. And we need to know that and feel that actually, yeah, probably that is going to serve us more. And we take these steps and we move accordingly. But yeah, I know I have this with clients all the time, feeling guilty because they said no. Or, the other thing, and it's so funny when somebody comes to me and says, you know what, Evie, I told them no. And they're like super proud. And I'm like, something, I'm like, I'm so proud of them as well. But like, imagine to have to get to that stage of like, and state of like feeling the pride, understanding how important it was for you as a step to be able to say no.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what it does to you, and what it does to your psyche, and what it does to your day, or like anything else that you are planning to do. So.
Absolutely. I would say, like, the first no is the hardest. Get that one under your belt and the rest will follow suit. But I think one of the issues and why people often feel guilty about the no is that they feel they're rejecting the person.
Right.
And that horrible feeling is that I don't want to be rejected, so I don't want to reject anyone. So then you get caught in that thing. When you say no, it's not a rejection of the person, it's a rejection of the thing that you're being asked or invited to do. And if you don't have the time, the capacity, the knowledge, whatever it is that is required for it, then you are completely entitled to say no. That is not rejecting the person. So I think we have to kind of also pull that out and just say, this is not about rejection. This is simply about you being able to have the ability to decide what is possible and what is not in any given moment. That's it. And if it's not possible, if you say no, that person has the opportunity to go and find somebody else, go and find their yes somewhere. And that goes for us too. So if I ask somebody to do something and they say no, I'm not going to make a big deal out of it. And oh my goodness, what an awful person. And you never help me and blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm not saying I've never done it in the past, but that doesn't help anything. It's like that person's no is a no. I can take that. I'll go find my yes. And that may be another 3 people down the line. And that's okay. So I think sometimes we have to just understand this is not about rejection. This is not about trying to hurt somebody's feelings or stopping ourselves from hurting somebody's feelings. This is about just being honest. Just be honest. You know, you asked me to do something, I can't do this today. I'm just going to tell you I can't do this today. It's not, there's no story that has to go with it. It is what it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think even in our work, we see it quite often. And I find like that is interesting. Sometimes I am seeing clients that they will say, oh, you know, they try to find an excuse to not engage with me or in the invitation that I'm giving them. And I find myself like helping them say the no at that particular moment in time, because I understand, and they should understand too, that whatever we do, it's only an invitation. And we want to engage with the people that are ready to engage at that particular or this particular moment in time. There is absolutely nothing wrong with expressing that you cannot engage at this particular moment in time, even with us. It's okay.
Yes.
All right. It's okay.
We don't have an issue with it.
No.
and I think actually, you know, in business, this is also really important that, you know, when you are identifying and having conversations with your potential clients, that give them the breathing space to be able to say no, because that's okay. Because if no is not right now, or it's not for me, or I, you know, whatever the thing is, give them that and respect that. And go find your yes somewhere else, and not hound people, because I think that again, that all that does is make the other person feel really guilty and bad. You know, oh gosh, I feel like I should say yes because they've spent an hour with me, or they've done this, or they've done that. You know, we have to be better than that. We have to be better than that.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if we go back to that first phrase, I shouldn't prioritize myself, what we really want to be thinking about is, and I think you said this already, Evie, is my well-being serves everyone I meet. Everyone in my life will benefit from me feeling at my best. How else could it possibly be? And then if we just think, well, how can I possibly support the people in my life or the work that I want to do from a place of empty, from a place of drain? How am I going to show up? How good is that going to be? So just understanding that time that we take to prioritize ourselves is to ensure that we have what we need to do the brilliant work we want to do, to pour the love that we want to pour into the people in our lives and around us, and to have a real sense of joy. That does not come from surviving. That does not come from a place of I can barely breathe. I can't cope. That does not come from that place. It comes from the place where you've been replenished.
Oh, yeah. 100%. And that's why we would like to invite you to our challenge. And Yvonne can say those things so much better than me. So go ahead.
Oh, really? Now, what if I said no?
These are saboteurs in practice.
Oh my goodness, yes. We are hosting a 5-day challenge, de-stress on the spot. And it's really about demonstrating, not so much just talking about, but demonstrating some really easy to access tools that you can use in those moments. You know, sometimes the heightening of the stress can hit you like, oh, just before you go into a meeting or just when you've come out and you're like, argh. And in that moment, you need to bring yourself back to the present. You need to be able to, okay, don't allow all of that, those stresses to start building up in the body so that your stress levels go up, your cortisol goes up. You need to kind of have these little things that you can utilize, that you can tap into, that help you to come back to being present, let you release some of that stuff and just say, okay, I'm okay. And that's really what our challenge is about. It's de-stressing on the spot. It's giving you some of those tools that we ourselves use and that we use with our clients that you can use in seconds, like, 30 seconds, in a minute, in a few minutes, depending on where you're at, will depend on how much of that you need in any given moment in time. But they help you. And the more you use them, so for me, it's about the consistency. The more you use them, and we'll show you ways to ensure that they're not taking up more time, that they are part of things that you already do, that makes all the difference. It makes all the difference. So we're going to kick off with a live on the next Friday, I believe, the 19th. And then the challenge starts on Monday, the 22nd. Whether you can make it to the live or not, we'll tell you more about that in due course. You can still join the challenge. You just need to go to www.permissiontothrive.online and sign up. Come test it out. It's going to be micro, bite-sized, whatever words you like to use, things for you to test out each day. And I like to use the word test out because some will resonate more than others. And that's what we encourage: exploration. Explore and find those things that really do work for you and let go of the things that don't. But we will make it as fun as we can because we love fun. It's part and parcel. And whilst the challenge is for 5 days, there's an extra 7 days as a bonus to give you some more information, but also time to embed using these tools and being held accountable in a community, because that's what communities are for, to hold us accountable, to feel held, to feel heard when we need that support too. And that's really important.
100%. And also to reflect, because you need to reflect in order to understand what is working for you and what isn't. And to have that open mind of like, I'll keep what I like and I'll let everything else go. And allow yourself to do that, because that's important. And that makes us joyful. Yeah.
Yes, and we love joy.
Yep, we do love joy. Thank you very much for being here today, for joining us live or seeing our replays, and we see you again next week.
Indeed. And just to finish off that, here at Permission to Thrive, we're here to help you break free from the narratives that can often keep you caged and keep you small. And we make sure that happens.
With grace and not grind.
Yes.
Got it this time.
We hit it this week. Excellent. Awesome. Thank you so much as always. Thank you to anyone who has tuned in. Please reach out anytime. Leave messages under the videos. We do check. And come join us on the challenge.
Come join us. We'll have fun. Take care. Bye.
Thanks.